Have you ever looked at someone successful and thought, they're just different? They're not. The difference isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't even intelligence. The difference is discipline. Every champion, every leader, every person who built a remarkable life made a decision that most people refuse to make. They chose discomfort today so they could experience freedom tomorrow. While others slept, they worked. While others complained, they improved. While others waited for motivation, they acted. And that's what this video is about. If you're tired of feeling stuck. If you're tired of starting and stopping. If you're tired of watching life pass by while your dreams stay the same. Then stay with me. Because today, we're talking about the Stoic secret that can transform your future. Discipline today. Dominate tomorrow. Before we begin, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Stoic Ascension for more timeless wisdom that helps you become stronger, wiser, and more disciplined every day. Now let's begin. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think discipline is punishment. They think discipline means forcing yourself to suffer. The Stoics saw it differently. To them, discipline was freedom. Imagine a man walking through a city with a dog on a leash. If the dog follows willingly, the walk is smooth. If the dog resists, it gets dragged anyway. Life works the same way. Many people resist reality. They resist hard work. They resist responsibility. They resist growth. And because of that resistance, they suffer. The disciplined person moves with purpose. They accept what must be done and do it. Not because it's easy. Because it's necessary. Marcus Aurelius wrote that every morning he reminded himself that he would face difficult people and difficult situations. He didn't expect life to be easy. He expected himself to be strong. That mindset changes everything. A young farmer once inherited a field filled with rocks. His neighbors laughed. They told him he would never grow anything valuable there. Every day, he woke before sunrise and removed one rock at a time. One rock. Every day. It seemed insignificant. Months passed. Then years. Eventually the field became fertile land. The same neighbors who mocked him admired the harvest. What they didn't see was that success wasn't created during harvest season. It was created during those quiet mornings when nobody was watching. Your future is built the same way. Not through one giant effort. But through small disciplined actions repeated daily. One workout. One chapter. One task completed. One temptation resisted. Day after day. The results seem invisible at first. Then one day everyone calls you successful. The modern world has a dangerous message. It tells you to follow your feelings. Do what feels good. Do what feels easy. Do what makes you comfortable. The Stoics would disagree. Your feelings change constantly. Discipline remains. Imagine a ship crossing an ocean. The wind changes direction every hour. If the captain follows the wind blindly, he'll never reach his destination. Instead, he follows the compass. Discipline is your compass. Your emotions are the weather. Never allow temporary emotions to determine permanent outcomes. Some days you'll feel motivated. Some days you won't. The disciplined person acts anyway. That's why they win. There was once a young athlete who dreamed of becoming a champion. Every New Year's Day, he made the same promise. This year will be different. For a week, he trained hard. Then his enthusiasm faded. Months passed. Nothing changed. One day he met an old coach. The coach listened carefully and then said something that changed his life. Stop focusing on being a champion. Focus on becoming the type of person who trains every day. The athlete finally understood. Success wasn't an event. It was an identity. Years later, he became a champion. Not because he chased trophies. Because he became disciplined. Your goal isn't to achieve success. Your goal is to become the person success naturally follows. One of the greatest enemies of discipline is procrastination. We tell ourselves we'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And eventually years disappear. Seneca warned that people guard their money carefully but waste time freely. Think about that. Time is the only resource you can never recover. Once today ends, it's gone forever. Imagine receiving $86,400 every morning. But whatever you don't spend disappears at midnight. You would use every cent wisely. Yet every day you're given 86,400 seconds. Most people waste them. The disciplined person protects them. Because they understand that a great life is simply a collection of well-used days. A sculptor stood before a massive block of marble. People asked how he planned to create a masterpiece. He smiled and said, "The statue is already inside. I simply remove everything that doesn't belong." That's what discipline does. It removes distractions. It removes weakness. It removes excuses. It reveals the stronger version of yourself that has been there all along. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you chip away at the marble. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, the statue becomes clearer. Eventually the world sees what discipline has created. Many people fear hard work. The Stoics feared something else. They feared becoming weak. Epictetus taught that difficulties reveal who we truly are. Anybody can remain calm when life is easy. Anybody can feel confident when things go their way. Character appears when challenges arrive. A storm doesn't build a ship. It reveals whether the ship was built well. Life's storms reveal whether you've developed discipline. When problems come, disciplined people don't panic. They adapt. They endure. They continue moving forward. That is power. There was a blacksmith who forged swords for kings. An apprentice watched him and asked why he repeatedly heated metal, hammered it, and returned it to the fire. The process seemed harsh. The blacksmith replied, "Without the fire, the steel remains weak." Many people pray for strength while avoiding difficulty. But strength is born through resistance. Just as muscles grow under tension, character grows through challenges. The disciplined person understands this. They don't run from hardship. They use it. Every obstacle becomes training. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes preparation. Another enemy of discipline is instant gratification. The desire for immediate pleasure has destroyed countless dreams. Why read a book when scrolling feels easier? Why save money when spending feels better? Why exercise when resting feels comfortable? The reward of discipline often arrives later. The reward of comfort arrives immediately. That's why so many people choose comfort. And that's why so few achieve greatness. Imagine two seeds. One remains safely in a drawer. The other is buried in dark soil. At first, the seed in the drawer seems better off. It's comfortable. Protected. Safe. But it never grows. The buried seed struggles. Yet it becomes a tree. Growth requires sacrifice. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. Yet he constantly reminded himself not to become lazy. Think about that. One of the most powerful men in history still battled the same excuses we battle today. Power didn't remove the need for discipline. Success didn't eliminate the need for self-control. In fact, discipline becomes even more important as your responsibilities grow. Never assume discipline is something you master once. It's a practice. A daily commitment. A lifelong journey. Picture a man climbing a mountain. Halfway up, he grows tired. The summit seems impossibly far away. He considers turning back. Then an older climber passes him. The younger man asks how he continues. The older climber smiles. I don't focus on the mountain. I focus on the next step. That's one of the greatest lessons in life. Don't become overwhelmed by the entire journey. Focus on today's step. Today's workout. Today's task. Today's improvement. Tomorrow will take care of itself. The Stoics believed that self-mastery was the highest form of power. Most people try to control others. They try to control circumstances. They try to control outcomes. But true power comes from controlling yourself. Your reactions. Your habits. Your decisions. Your mindset. A person who controls themselves cannot be easily defeated. Because their strength comes from within. And what comes from within cannot be taken away. There is a story about two wolves. One wolf represents discipline, courage, patience, and wisdom. The other represents laziness, fear, excuses, and weakness. A young boy asked which wolf wins. The elder replied, the one you feed. Every day you are feeding one of those wolves. Every choice matters. Every habit matters. Every action matters. The life you experience tomorrow is being shaped by the decisions you make today. Choose carefully. Many people spend years waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect opportunity. The perfect plan. The perfect conditions. But perfection never arrives. The disciplined person starts anyway. A writer writes before inspiration appears. An athlete trains before motivation arrives. A leader acts before confidence feels complete. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates results. Stop waiting. Start moving. Imagine two men standing at the edge of a forest. One enters immediately. The other spends years studying maps. Who reaches the destination first? The one who begins. Knowledge matters. Planning matters. But action matters more. Discipline turns ideas into reality. Without action, dreams remain dreams. The greatest battle you'll ever fight is not against another person. It's against the version of yourself that wants to quit. The version that seeks comfort. The version that avoids responsibility. The version that says, maybe tomorrow. That battle happens every day. And every victory matters. Each time you choose discipline, you become stronger. Each time you choose growth, you become wiser. Each time you keep going, you separate yourself from the crowd. Years from now, you'll either experience the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One pain builds you. The other destroys you. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret can last a lifetime. Imagine looking back 10 years from now. What story do you want to tell? Do you want to say you tried? Or do you want to say you transformed? The choice begins today. Not tomorrow. Today. Remember this. Your future self is watching. The person you'll become 5 years from now is being created by your current habits. Every early morning. Every difficult choice. Every act of discipline. Every moment of perseverance. Nothing is wasted. Every effort compounds. Like drops of water carving through stone, consistent action creates extraordinary results. Slowly. Then suddenly. The Stoics understood something timeless. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Goals inspire. Habits transform. Build habits so strong that success becomes inevitable. Wake up when you said you would. Do what needs to be done. Keep promises to yourself. Remain consistent. Especially when nobody is watching. Because character is built in private long before it's recognized in public. One final story. An old man planted a tree. A passerby laughed. You'll never sit in its shade. The old man smiled and continued planting. Years later, generations enjoyed the shade of that tree. Discipline works the same way. Some rewards appear quickly. Others take years. But every disciplined action plants a seed. And every seed has the potential to become something extraordinary. Trust the process. Trust the effort. Trust the journey. As we come to the end of this video, remember this simple truth. Discipline today. Dominate tomorrow. Not because life becomes easier. Because you become stronger. Not because obstacles disappear. Because you learn how to overcome them. Not because success is guaranteed. Because you become the type of person capable of creating it. The world belongs to those who show up consistently. Those who act when they don't feel like it. Those who keep going when others quit. Those who choose discipline over comfort. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, ask yourself one question. What can I do today that my future self will thank me for? Then do it. No excuses. No delays. No waiting. Just action. The path of discipline is often lonely. Not because people dislike you. But because your priorities begin to change. While others chase entertainment, you chase improvement. While others look for shortcuts, you look for growth. While others spend hours discussing their dreams, you spend hours building them. At first, people may not understand. They may question your routines. They may mock your commitment. They may tell you to relax. But remember this. The crowd rarely travels toward greatness. The crowd moves toward comfort. And comfort has never built an extraordinary life. The Stoics understood that approval from others is temporary. Character is permanent. If you constantly seek validation, you become a prisoner of other people's opinions. But if you develop discipline, you become free. Free from the need to impress. Free from the need to compare. Free from the need to explain yourself. Your results will speak louder than your words ever could. Think about a lion. A lion does not lose sleep trying to convince sheep that it is powerful. It simply lives according to its nature. Many people spend too much energy explaining their ambitions. Talking about their plans. Announcing their goals. Seeking applause before they've done the work. The disciplined person is different. They move quietly. They improve silently. They focus on execution. Then one day, the world notices what consistency has built. Let your actions become your introduction. There is an old story about a bamboo tree. For years after planting, nothing seems to happen. No visible growth. No dramatic results. No sign of progress. Many people would assume the seed failed. But beneath the surface, roots are spreading. Growing stronger. Preparing for what comes next. Then suddenly, the bamboo shoots upward at an astonishing speed. What appeared to be years of inactivity were actually years of preparation. Your life works the same way. You may not see immediate results. You may not feel like you're progressing. You may wonder if your efforts matter. They do. Every disciplined action is strengthening your roots. And when the time comes, your growth will surprise everyone. Including you. One of the greatest Stoic lessons is this. Focus on what you can control. You cannot control whether people support you. You cannot control whether life is fair. You cannot control every outcome. But you can control your effort. You can control your attitude. You can control your response. Imagine an archer preparing to shoot an arrow. The archer can control training. The archer can control aim. The archer can control focus. But once the arrow leaves the bow, many factors are beyond control. The wind may change. The target may move. The outcome is uncertain. The disciplined person focuses on the shot, not the result. Because excellence comes from controlling what can be controlled. There was once a young man who desperately wanted success. Every month he switched goals. One month he wanted to be wealthy. The next month he wanted fame. The next month he wanted a different career. Years passed. Nothing changed. Meanwhile, his friend chose one path and stayed committed. The friend wasn't smarter. The friend wasn't luckier. The friend was simply more consistent. Eventually, the consistent friend achieved remarkable success. The lesson is simple. Intensity can take you far. Consistency takes you farther. Small efforts repeated over time become unstoppable. Discipline also means saying no. No to distractions. No to excuses. No to habits that pull you away from your purpose. Every yes requires a no. If you say yes to growth, you must say no to laziness. If you say yes to health, you must say no to harmful habits. If you say yes to your future, you must sometimes say no to temporary pleasure. Most people focus on what they need to add to their lives. The Stoics often focused on what needed to be removed. Remove excuses. Remove unnecessary distractions. Remove self-doubt. Remove the habits that weaken you. Sometimes progress is subtraction before it becomes addition. A ship is safest in the harbor. But ships were not built for harbors. Human beings are the same. You were not built merely to exist. You were built to grow. To challenge yourself. To expand your potential. To become more than you were yesterday. Yet many people spend their entire lives hiding from challenge. Avoiding risk. Avoiding discomfort. Avoiding growth. And then they wonder why they feel unfulfilled. Fulfillment comes from becoming who you're capable of becoming. And discipline is the bridge that gets you there. The strongest people are not always the most talented. Often, they're simply the most resilient. They refuse to quit. When they fail, they learn. When they fall, they rise. When they struggle, they continue. Consider how rivers carve through mountains. Not because they are stronger than stone. Because they are persistent. Day after day. Year after year. The river continues flowing. Eventually, even the hardest rock gives way. Persistence creates miracles. Discipline fuels persistence. Every morning is a new opportunity. A new chance to become stronger. A new chance to improve. A new chance to move closer to your goals. Most people waste mornings. The disciplined person protects them. They understand that how you start your day often determines how you live your day. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning of the kind of person he wanted to be. Not the kind of person he hoped to be. The kind of person he would choose to be. That choice belongs to you every single day. Imagine waking up 1 year from now. Your habits have improved. Your confidence has grown. Your health is better. Your finances are stronger. Your mind is sharper. How would that feel? Now imagine the opposite. Nothing changes. The same excuses. The same habits. The same regrets. That future is also possible. The difference between those futures is not luck. It's discipline. It's the decisions you make when nobody is watching. It's the choices you make when motivation disappears. It's the actions you take today. Never underestimate the power of one disciplined day. One day becomes a week. 1 week becomes a month. 1 month becomes a year. 1 year can completely transform your life. The problem is that people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. Keep showing up. Keep improving. Keep moving forward. Even when progress feels slow. Especially when progress feels slow. Because that is when discipline matters most. There will be days when you doubt yourself. Days when you feel tired. Days when you want to quit. Those days are not signs to stop. They are tests. Tests that reveal how committed you truly are. Anyone can continue when conditions are perfect. The disciplined person continues when conditions are difficult. That's what separates dreamers from achievers. That's what separates potential from performance. That's what separates ordinary from extraordinary. One day, people will see your success. They will admire your confidence. They will respect your achievements. They will wonder how you did it. What they won't see are the early mornings. The sacrifices. The failures. The moments you wanted to quit but didn't. Success is always visible. Discipline is often invisible. But discipline always comes first. So as you finish listening to this message, remember. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to move at someone else's pace. You only need to take the next step. Then the next. Then the next. Because every disciplined action is a vote for the person you want to become. And every day you choose discipline, you move closer to domination tomorrow. The truth is, most people never discover their full potential. Not because they lack ability. Not because they lack opportunity. But because they quit too soon. They stop after the first setback. They surrender after the first failure. They abandon the journey before the transformation begins. What they don't realize is that every great achievement has a phase where it looks impossible. A phase where progress is invisible. A phase where quitting feels reasonable. That phase is where champions are created. Because while everyone else turns back, the disciplined person takes one more step. And then another. And then another. Until the impossible becomes reality. There is a story about a stonecutter. Every day he struck a massive rock with his hammer. 1 strike. 2 strikes. 50 strikes. 100 strikes. The rock didn't move. It didn't crack. It didn't show any sign of change. Then on the 101st strike, the rock split in half. Was it the final strike that broke the rock? No. It was every strike that came before it. Success works the same way. Every workout matters. Every page read matters. Every hour spent learning matters. Every disciplined decision matters. Even when you cannot see the results. Especially when you cannot see the results. Because transformation is happening beneath the surface. The Stoics often reflected on mortality. Not to become fearful. But to become focused. One day, every opportunity you have today will disappear. One day, the chance to start will no longer exist. One day, all that will remain are the choices you made. This isn't meant to frighten you. It's meant to awaken you. Life is precious because it is limited. Time matters because it runs out. And when you truly understand that, you stop wasting days that could change your future. You stop postponing your goals. You stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You begin now. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path is easy. Comfortable. Familiar. The other path is difficult. Uncertain. Demanding. Most people choose the easy road. Not because it's better. Because it's easier. Years later, they wonder why they never reached extraordinary destinations. The difficult road often leads to remarkable places. The easy road often leads back to where you started. Every day you face that choice. Comfort or growth. Excuses or action. Average or extraordinary. The choice is yours. A young warrior once asked his master how to become unstoppable. The master took him to a river. Without warning, he pushed the young warrior underwater. The warrior struggled. Fought. Kicked. Desperately seeking air. Finally, the master pulled him back up. The warrior gasped for breath. Angry and confused, he demanded an explanation. The master said, "When you want success as badly as you wanted that breath, nothing will stop you. Most people want success. Few are committed to it. There is a difference. Wanting is passive. Commitment is active. Wanting dreams. Commitment works. Wanting hopes. Commitment acts. Discipline turns desire into commitment. One of the greatest lies people tell themselves is this: I'll be happy when I achieve my goal. But happiness cannot always wait for the destination. The Stoics understood that fulfillment comes from the process. The disciplined person learns to appreciate the journey. The daily improvement. The lessons. The growth. Because if you only allow yourself to be happy at the finish line, you'll spend most of your life dissatisfied. Learn to take pride in becoming stronger. Learn to enjoy becoming wiser. Learn to appreciate progress. No matter how small. Picture an eagle. When storms approach, most birds seek shelter. They hide. They wait. The eagle does something different. It spreads its wings and rises higher, using the storm to reach greater heights. The obstacle becomes the opportunity. The challenge becomes the advantage. That's the Stoic mindset. When difficulties arrive, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "How can this make me stronger?" Every challenge contains a lesson. Every hardship contains an opportunity. Every setback contains growth. If you're willing to look for it. There will always be distractions. New trends. New excuses. New reasons to delay your progress. The modern world is designed to steal your attention. Every notification. Every distraction. Every unnecessary interruption. Attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess. Where attention goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, results follow. Protect your focus. Guard your time. Respect your priorities. Because a distracted mind rarely creates an extraordinary life. The ancient Stoics trained themselves to endure discomfort voluntarily. Sometimes they slept on hard surfaces. Sometimes they ate simple meals. Sometimes they practiced going without luxury. Why? Because they understood something powerful. If you can be comfortable being uncomfortable, you become difficult to defeat. Most people panic when conditions become difficult. The disciplined person remains calm. Because they have trained for adversity. They have strengthened their mind. They have built resilience. And resilience is a superpower in a world addicted to comfort. There is a version of you that already knows what needs to be done. A version of you that knows it's time to stop making excuses. A version of you that knows it's time to take responsibility. A version of you that knows exactly where you're capable of going. That version is waiting. Waiting for your actions to catch up with your potential. Every disciplined choice brings you closer to that person. Every excuse moves you further away. The choice is made daily. Sometimes hourly. Sometimes moment by moment. Never compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Comparison steals energy. Comparison steals focus. Comparison steals gratitude. The only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Improve 1% daily. 1% sounds small. But over time, small improvements create extraordinary outcomes. A plane changing direction by just a few degrees eventually lands in a completely different destination. Small changes matter. Small habits matter. Small disciplines matter. Never underestimate them. One day, the struggle you're experiencing now will become your strength. The obstacle you're facing now will become your wisdom. The challenge you're enduring now will become your story. People will ask how you became so strong. And you'll remember the difficult days. The days nobody saw. The days when quitting seemed easier. The days when discipline carried you forward. Those days are not your weakness. They are your foundation. As this journey continues, remember these words. Discipline is not about being harsh with yourself. It is about respecting yourself enough to do what needs to be done. It is a form of self-respect. A form of self-leadership. A form of self-mastery. Every disciplined action sends a message to your mind. I can trust myself. And that trust becomes confidence. Real confidence. Not confidence built on praise. Not confidence built on appearance. Confidence built on proof. The proof that you do what you say you'll do. So rise early. Work hard. Stay humble. Remain focused. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep showing up. Not because it's easy. Because it's worth it. The life you want is waiting on the other side of consistent effort. The person you want to become is waiting on the other side of discipline. And the future you dream about is built by the actions you take today. Discipline today. Dominate tomorrow. And remember, if this message inspired you, leave a comment below sharing one discipline you're committed to building this week. Subscribe to Stoic Ascension for more powerful Stoic wisdom, self-mastery lessons, and timeless guidance designed to help you rise above mediocrity and become your strongest self. Until next time. Stay disciplined. Stay relentless. Stay ascending. What if everything you've been trying to control is the reason you feel out of control? Think about that. The people who hurt you. The opportunities you missed. The unfair situations. The disappointments. The criticism. What if none of those things are actually controlling your life? What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the way you think? Today, we're talking about one of the most powerful lessons ever taught by the Stoics. Master your mind, own your reality. And if you're ready to develop the mindset of a Stoic warrior in a world filled with distractions, make sure you subscribe to Stoic Ascension for more timeless wisdom, mental strength, and self-mastery. Now let's begin. Most people wake up every morning and immediately surrender control of their minds. Before their feet even touch the floor, they check notifications. A message changes their mood. A headline creates anxiety. A comment ruins their confidence. A comparison steals their happiness. Without realizing it, they spend the entire day reacting. Reacting to circumstances. Reacting to opinions. Reacting to events. And then they wonder why they feel powerless. The Stoics understood something that many people still struggle to understand today. Your life is not determined by what happens around you. Your life is determined by what happens within you. The world can throw chaos in your direction. But if your mind remains steady, you remain powerful. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers, faced wars, betrayals, disease, and immense responsibility. Yet despite all of this, he reminded himself of a simple truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Once you understand this, your life begins to change. Imagine two men standing in the rain. One curses the sky. He complains about the weather. He becomes angry and frustrated. The other accepts the rain. He adjusts his plans and continues moving forward. The rain fell on both men equally. But only one suffered. The difference wasn't the rain. The difference was the mind. This is where true freedom begins. Not when circumstances become perfect. But when your mind becomes stronger than your circumstances. A young man once traveled across the country seeking wisdom from an old philosopher. When he finally arrived, he asked a simple question. How can I find peace? The philosopher looked at him and asked, what troubles you? The young man spent an hour listing everything wrong in his life. His boss. His family. his finances, his past, his future. After listening patiently, the philosopher handed him a mirror. The young man looked confused. "What does this mean?" he asked. The philosopher smiled. "The source of your suffering is standing right in front of you." At first, the young man became offended. But years later he finally understood. The philosopher wasn't blaming him for his problems. He was teaching him that his reactions, beliefs, and interpretations were creating much of his suffering. Many people spend their lives trying to rearrange the world. Stoicism teaches us to rearrange our minds. And that changes everything. One of the greatest mistakes people make is giving other people control over their emotions. Someone insults them. Their day is ruined. Someone criticizes them. Their confidence disappears. Someone ignores them. They become anxious. But ask yourself something. Why should another person's words determine how you feel? Why should someone else's opinion have the power to control your peace? The Stoics believe that emotional freedom comes from refusing to hand over the keys to your mind. There is an old story about a wise teacher who was known throughout the region for his calmness. One day an angry man approached him in public and began shouting insults. The crowd expected the teacher to become angry. Instead, he stood quietly. The man shouted louder. Still nothing. Finally, frustrated, the man asked, "Why aren't you responding?" The teacher replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, who does the gift belong to?" The man answered, "The person who offered it." "Exactly," said the teacher. "The same applies to your insults." The crowd fell silent. The teacher understood something most people never learn. Not everything deserves a reaction. Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. Your thoughts shape your reality far more than you realize. Every action begins as a thought. Every habit begins as a thought. Every success and every failure begins as a thought. If your mind is constantly filled with negativity, fear, and self-doubt, those thoughts will eventually shape your actions. And your actions will shape your future. There was once a farmer who had two sons. Both grew up under the same roof. Both faced the same hardships. Both witnessed the same struggles. Yet their lives turned out completely different. One became disciplined, successful, and respected. The other became bitter, angry, and self-destructive. When people asked why their lives were so different, both brothers gave the same answer. "My childhood." One used his past as motivation. The other used it as an excuse. Same circumstances. Different mindset. Different reality. The lesson is clear. Your circumstances may influence you. But they do not have the final say. Your mind does. The modern world worships comfort. People want shortcuts. Quick success. Instant gratification. Easy solutions. But the Stoics viewed comfort differently. They believed excessive comfort weakens the mind. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you become stronger. Every time you do what is necessary instead of what is easy, you gain power over yourself. There was a young athlete who dreamed of becoming a champion. Every morning before sunrise he woke up and trained. While his friends slept, he worked. While others looked for excuses, he looked for opportunities. Year after year he continued. The process was difficult. Many days he wanted to quit. But he kept going. Eventually he became a champion. People called him talented. Some called him lucky. But they never saw the thousands of mornings when he chose discipline instead of comfort. The victory wasn't won on the day of the competition. It was won in the quiet moments when nobody was watching. That is the power of discipline. It creates a life most people only dream about. Many people spend years trying to avoid challenges. They pray for easier circumstances. Less difficulty. fewer obstacles. But the Stoics saw obstacles differently. They understood that challenges are not barriers. They are teachers. A blacksmith once worked with an apprentice. The apprentice watched as steel was heated in fire, hammered repeatedly, and returned to the flames. "It seems cruel," the apprentice said. The blacksmith smiled. "Without the fire, the steel remains weak." Life often works the same way. The hardships you face today may be creating the strength you need tomorrow. The challenges you wish would disappear may be preparing you for a future you cannot yet see. Every difficulty contains an opportunity. The question is whether you will focus on the pain or the lesson. One of the most liberating ideas in Stoicism is understanding what you can control and what you cannot. Most anxiety comes from trying to control things that were never ours to control. The economy. The weather. Other people's opinions. The past. The future. These things exist beyond our reach. Yet people spend enormous amounts of energy worrying about them. A sailor once found himself caught in a violent storm. The waves were enormous. The wind was relentless. He couldn't control the sea. He couldn't control the storm. But he could control how he handled his ship. So he focused on what he could influence. And eventually he reached shore. This is the Stoic way. Focus on your actions. Focus on your effort. Focus on your character. Let go of everything else. The moment you stop fighting reality, you gain access to a deeper sense of peace. Attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess. Yet most people give it away freely. Every notification. Every trend. Every argument. Every distraction. The world constantly competes for your attention because attention creates direction. Whatever receives your attention eventually influences your life. A wise mentor once took his student to a river. Without warning, he pushed the student's head underwater. The student struggled desperately. When he finally surfaced, gasping for air, the mentor asked, "What did you want more than anything while underwater?" "Air," the student replied. The mentor nodded. When you focus on your goals with that level of intensity, nothing can stop you. Most people fail not because they lack ability. They fail because their attention is scattered. Master your attention and you begin mastering your life. Another lesson from Stoicism is learning to stop seeking validation. Many people are trapped in an invisible prison. The need for approval. They want everyone to like them. Everyone to admire them. Everyone to agree with them. But this is impossible. No matter what you do, someone will criticize you. There is an old story about a father and son traveling with a donkey. As they walked beside it, people mocked them for not riding. When the son rode the donkey, people criticized him for making his father walk. When the father rode, people criticized him for being selfish. When both rode, people criticized them for overloading the animal. Eventually the father laughed. No matter what they did, someone had an opinion. The lesson is simple. You cannot build your life around the expectations of others. You must build it around your values. When you stop living for approval, you begin living with freedom. Fear is another force that prevents people from owning their reality. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear of judgment. Fear of uncertainty. But the Stoics understood that fear often exaggerates danger. Most of the things we fear never happen. And even when they do, we are usually stronger than we imagined. A young soldier once stood before his first battle. The night before, he couldn't sleep. His mind was filled with terrifying possibilities. The next day, after the battle ended, he realized something surprising. The fear before the battle had been worse than the battle itself. Many people suffer more in imagination than in reality. The mind creates monsters where none exist. Master your fear and you reclaim enormous amounts of energy. The Stoics also taught the importance of gratitude. This may sound simple, but it is one of the most powerful mental practices available. Most people focus on what they lack. The promotion they didn't get. The money they don't have. The opportunities they missed. As a result, they feel constantly dissatisfied. A wealthy businessman once complained endlessly about his life. Nothing seemed good enough. One day he met an old fisherman who owned very little. Yet the fisherman was genuinely happy. Confused, the businessman asked him how. The fisherman replied, "Every morning I wake up grateful for what remains instead of complaining about what is missing." That answer changed the businessman's life. Gratitude does not ignore problems. It simply prevents problems from becoming the only thing you see. Life is temporary. The Stoics reflected on this truth often. Not to become depressed, but to become awake. When you remember that time is limited, trivial concerns lose their power. Petty arguments become meaningless. Unnecessary drama becomes irrelevant. You begin focusing on what truly matters. An old man once sat beneath a tree with his grandson. The boy asked, "What is the most valuable thing in life?" The old man pointed toward the setting sun. "Another day." The boy looked confused. The old man smiled. When you understand how precious time is, you stop wasting it. Every day is a gift. Every moment is an opportunity. The Stoics knew this. And that awareness gave them urgency. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against other people. It is against yourself. Against laziness. Against fear. Against anger. Against doubt. Against the voice inside your head that tells you to quit. This battle happens every single day. And every choice matters. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you win. Every time you choose courage over fear, you win. Every time you choose wisdom over impulse, you win. These victories may seem small. But over time they create extraordinary results. The strongest person is not the one who can defeat others. The strongest person is the one who can master themselves. As we come to the end of this message, remember this. The world around you will always change. People will come and go. Circumstances will rise and fall. Success and failure will visit every life. But there is one thing that remains within your control. Your mind. Your perspective. Your response. That is where your power lives. Not in controlling every event. Not in forcing life to follow your plans. But in developing a mind so strong that no circumstance can break it. The Stoics understood this truth thousands of years ago. And it remains just as powerful today. Master your thoughts. Master your emotions. Master your habits. Master your character. Because when you master your mind, you stop becoming a victim of reality. You become its architect. You become calm in chaos. Strong in adversity. Focused in distraction. And unstoppable in pursuit of what truly matters. There is a reason why some people remain calm when everything around them is falling apart. It is not because they have easier lives. It is not because they have fewer problems. It is because they have trained their minds to see challenges differently. Most people believe confidence comes before action. The Stoics knew the opposite is true. Confidence comes from action. You do not become confident by thinking about being confident. You become confident by doing difficult things repeatedly until they no longer intimidate you. A young man once wanted to learn how to climb mountains. Standing at the base of a massive peak, he felt overwhelmed. The summit seemed impossible to reach. The distance was enormous. The climb looked dangerous. For hours he stood there wondering whether he should even begin. An old climber noticed him and asked, "Why aren't you moving?" The young man pointed toward the summit. "It's too far away." The old climber smiled. "Then stop looking at the summit." The young man looked confused. The climber pointed to the ground. Focus on the next step. Years later, the young man became a skilled mountaineer. And he never forgot that lesson. Most goals are not achieved by obsessing over the destination. They are achieved by focusing on the next step. The next workout. The next page. The next conversation. The next disciplined decision. Master the step in front of you and the future will take care of itself. Many people are trapped by their past. A mistake they made years ago. A failure they cannot forget. A betrayal they cannot forgive. A version of themselves they no longer want to be. But carrying the past everywhere you go is like dragging an anchor through life. It slows your progress. It steals your energy. It prevents growth. A traveler once carried a heavy sack filled with stones. As he walked, he became exhausted. An old woman watching him asked, "Why are you carrying that?" The traveler replied, "These stones represent every mistake I've ever made. I don't want to forget them." The woman nodded. "And how far have they helped you travel?" The traveler stood silent. The lesson became obvious. Learning from the past is wisdom. Living in the past is suffering. The Stoics believe that every moment gives you an opportunity to begin again. Not because the past didn't happen, but because it no longer has the power to control your next choice. The present moment is where your power exists. Not yesterday. Not tomorrow. Right now. Another reason people lose control of their reality is because they underestimate the influence of their environment. Your environment shapes your thoughts more than you realize. The people around you influence your standards. The content you consume influences your beliefs. The conversations you engage in influence your mindset. A young tree planted among healthy trees grows straight and strong. A tree surrounded by disease struggles to survive. Human beings are no different. There was once a young craftsman who wanted to become a master. Every day he spent time around skilled artisans. He listened carefully. He observed their habits. He learned from their discipline. Years later he became one of the finest craftsmen in the city. When people asked for his secret, he answered, "I became like the people I spent time with." This is why you must guard your environment carefully. If you surround yourself with negativity, negativity becomes normal. If you surround yourself with excellence, excellence becomes expected. Choose wisely. The Stoics also understood the importance of silence. In today's world, everyone wants to speak. Everyone wants attention. Everyone wants to be heard. But wisdom often grows in silence. A king once visited a famous philosopher. Expecting a grand speech, he sat and waited. The philosopher remained silent. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Finally the king became frustrated. "I came here for wisdom." The philosopher smiled. "And what have you learned?" The king thought for a moment. For the first time in years, he had sat quietly with his own thoughts. He had noticed fears he normally ignored. Questions he had never asked himself. Truths he had been avoiding. The silence had taught him more than words ever could. Many people are uncomfortable being alone with their thoughts. The Stoics encouraged it. Because self-awareness begins when distractions end. Spend time in silence. You may discover answers you've been searching for your entire life. One of the greatest sources of suffering is comparison. The moment you compare your life to someone else's, gratitude begins to disappear. You see their success. But not their sacrifices. You see their victories. But not their struggles. You see the highlight reel. But not the behind-the-scenes reality. A young artist became discouraged after seeing another artist receive praise and recognition. For weeks he compared himself relentlessly. Eventually he visited an older mentor. The mentor handed him a seed. "Plant this," he said. The young artist did. Days passed. Nothing happened. Then a small shoot appeared. Months later it became a beautiful plant. The mentor asked, "Did your plant grow at the same speed as every other plant in the garden?" "No," the artist replied. "Exactly. Every plant has its own season. Every person has their own journey. Comparison blinds you to your own growth. Focus on becoming better than you were yesterday. That is the only comparison that truly matters." Patience is another forgotten virtue. People want results immediately. If success takes too long, they quit. If progress is slow, they lose motivation. If rewards don't appear quickly, they become discouraged. But nature teaches a different lesson. A bamboo tree spends years developing roots underground before visible growth appears. Then, in a relatively short period, it grows dramatically. From the outside it looks sudden. But the growth was years in the making. A young entrepreneur once started a small business. For years he earned very little. Friends mocked him. Family doubted him. Many told him to give up. But he continued improving his skills every day. Eventually his efforts paid off. People called him an overnight success. They never saw the years of invisible work. The Stoics understood that meaningful growth often happens quietly. Trust the process. Remain patient. Keep showing up. The results will come. There will be moments when life tests you in ways you never expected. Moments when your plans fall apart. Moments when people disappoint you. Moments when everything feels uncertain. These moments reveal who you truly are. Anyone can remain positive when life is easy. Character is revealed during difficulty. A captain's skill is not measured on calm seas. It is measured during storms. A village once experienced the worst flood in its history. Homes were destroyed. Roads disappeared. Panic spread everywhere. Yet one elderly man remained calm. While others focused on what was lost, he focused on what could still be done. He helped neighbors. Organized supplies. Encouraged hope. Years later, people remembered him not because he avoided hardship, but because of how he responded to it. Your response to adversity becomes your legacy. Never underestimate the power of daily habits. Your life is not shaped by what you do occasionally. It is shaped by what you do consistently. A single workout won't transform your body. A single book won't transform your mind. A single disciplined day won't transform your future. But repeated over months and years, small actions become extraordinary results. There is a story about a stonecutter working on a massive rock. He strikes it once. Nothing happens. Twice. Nothing happens. 100 times. Still no visible change. Then on the 101st strike, the rock cracks in half. Was it the final strike that broke the stone? Of course not. It was every strike that came before it. Success often works the same way. Every effort matters. Every disciplined choice matters. Even when results are invisible. Keep going. As you move forward in life, remember this simple Stoic truth. You cannot always choose what happens. But you can always choose who you become because of what happens. You can become bitter. Or wiser. You can become resentful. Or stronger. You can become defeated. Or resilient. The choice belongs to you. Every challenge contains a hidden opportunity. Every setback contains a lesson. Every difficulty contains the possibility of growth. The question is whether you will see it. Because the quality of your life will always reflect the quality of your mind. And when you finally understand this, everything changes. You stop blaming. You stop complaining. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop giving away your power. Instead, you begin building an unshakable mind. A disciplined spirit. A calm heart. and a life directed by purpose rather than circumstance. That is the Stoic path. That is self-mastery. That is how you truly own your reality. And if you're committed to becoming stronger, wiser, and more disciplined every day, subscribe to Stoic Ascension and join us for more life-changing lessons from Stoicism. Until our next journey together. Guard your mind. Strengthen your character. Embrace the challenge. And keep ascending. Have you ever noticed something strange? The people who spend the most time trying to prove they are important often feel the least important inside. They chase attention. They chase approval. They chase recognition. Yet no matter how much they get, it never feels enough. Then there are others. They walk into a room and people notice. Not because they are loud. Not because they demand attention. Not because they show off. People notice them because they carry themselves differently. Their presence speaks before they do. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most powerful lessons you can ever learn. Learn to be important. Not important in the eyes of the crowd. Not important because of money. Not important because of status. But important because of your character, your discipline, your values, and the way you impact the world around you. If you stay with me until the end, you will discover why true importance has nothing to do with popularity and everything to do with becoming a person of value. And if you enjoy this message, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel for more powerful lessons on self-mastery and Stoic wisdom. Now let's begin. Many people spend their entire lives wanting to be noticed. They want people to admire them. They want everyone to appreciate them. They want validation from friends, family, coworkers, and strangers online. The problem is that they hand over control of their happiness to other people. Their worth depends on opinions. And opinions change every day. One moment people praise you. The next moment they criticize you. If your value depends on what others think, your confidence will always be unstable. The Stoics understood this. They knew that true importance comes from within. A man becomes important when he keeps his word. A woman becomes important when she remains strong during difficult times. A person becomes important when their actions match their values. Think about a giant oak tree. It does not beg anyone to admire it. It simply grows. Its roots go deeper. Its trunk becomes stronger. Its branches spread wider. Over time people notice its strength. The lesson is simple. Stop trying to look important. Start becoming important. There is a story about a young man who desperately wanted respect. Every conversation became an opportunity for him to talk about his achievements. Every gathering became a stage for him to impress others. At first people listened. But after some time they became tired. The more he tried to convince others of his importance, the less respect he received. One day he met an older man who was deeply respected in the community. The young man asked him a question. How did you become so important? The old man smiled. I stopped trying to be important. The young man was confused. The old man continued. I focused on being useful. That answer changed everything. Because usefulness creates value. And value creates importance. The world does not reward people who constantly demand attention. The world rewards people who solve problems. People who help others. People who bring wisdom. People who create opportunities. People who make life better. If you want to become important, ask yourself a simple question every day. How can I become more useful? That question can transform your life. Another reason many people never feel important is because they constantly compare themselves to others. Someone always has more money. Someone always has a bigger house. Someone always has a better job. Someone always seems more successful. Comparison is a trap. It steals peace. It steals confidence. It steals gratitude. Imagine two runners. One runner keeps looking at the finish line. The other keeps looking sideways at competitors. Who is more likely to win? The one focused on the goal. Life works the same way. The moment you stop comparing yourself and start improving yourself, everything changes. Your energy returns. Your confidence grows. Your progress becomes faster. The Stoics believe that your greatest competition is the person you were yesterday. Not your neighbor. Not your coworker. Not someone on social media. You. Every day ask yourself, am I wiser than yesterday? Am I stronger than yesterday? Am I more disciplined than yesterday? If the answer is yes, then you are winning. One of the most important qualities of truly important people is self-control. Most people are controlled by emotions. A rude comment ruins their day. A small setback destroys their motivation. A disagreement fills them with anger. They become prisoners of every emotion that passes through their minds. But strong people are different. They feel emotions. They simply do not allow emotions to control them. There was a businessman who lost a major contract worth thousands of dollars. His employees expected him to panic. Instead, he remained calm. He gathered his team and said, "We cannot control what happened. We can control what happens next." That calm attitude helped the company recover. Years later, people still respected him for that moment. Not because he was successful. Because he was composed. People trust those who remain steady during storms. When everyone else is losing control, become the person who stays calm. That alone will make you stand out. Another secret of becoming important is learning to listen. Most people listen only long enough to prepare their next response. They are not truly listening. They are waiting to speak. But people feel valued when they are heard. A wise person understands that listening is a superpower. Think about someone you deeply respect. Chances are they made you feel understood. They paid attention. They listened carefully. They cared about what you had to say. When you become a better listener, your relationships improve. Your influence grows. Your wisdom increases. Because every person you meet knows something you do not know. The more you listen, the more you learn. And the more you learn, the more valuable you become. Let us talk about discipline. Because without discipline, importance fades quickly. Talent is wonderful. Intelligence is useful. But discipline is what creates lasting results. There is a story about two friends. Both had big dreams. Both wanted success. Both wanted a better future. The first friend waited until he felt motivated. The second friend worked whether he felt motivated or not. Years passed. The first friend was still waiting for the perfect moment. The second friend had built a successful life. The difference was discipline. Important people do not rely on feelings. They rely on habits. They show up. They do the work. They stay consistent. Even when it is difficult. Especially when it is difficult. Your future is built by what you repeatedly do. Not what you occasionally do. If you want to become important, become reliable. Do what you say you will do. Keep your promises. Show up on time. Finish what you start. Reliability is rare. And rare qualities are valuable. Another lesson is learning to protect your reputation. Your reputation is like a mirror. It takes years to build. And only seconds to crack. This does not mean living for the approval of others. It means living with integrity. It means being honest even when lying would be easier. It means doing the right thing even when nobody is watching. A merchant once discovered that he had accidentally received extra money from a customer. No one would have known if he kept it. But he returned every cent. Years later, people still trusted him. Why? Because trust compounds. Every honest action strengthens your reputation. Every dishonest action weakens it. People may forget what you said. They may forget what you did. But they remember how trustworthy you were. Never underestimate the value of integrity. Now here is a lesson that many people struggle with. Learn to be comfortable alone. Some people fear solitude. They constantly need noise. They constantly need attention. They constantly need company. The moment they are alone, they feel uncomfortable. But solitude is where growth happens. It is where you think clearly. It is where you reflect. It is where you understand yourself. Many of the greatest thinkers in history spent time alone. Not because they hated people. Because they valued clarity. When you learn to enjoy your own company, you stop depending on others to complete you. And that creates a quiet confidence that people can feel. Another powerful way to become important is by controlling your words. Words have power. A careless sentence can destroy trust. An encouraging sentence can change someone's life. Before speaking, ask yourself. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it helpful? Not every thought deserves a voice. Not every argument deserves your participation. Not every insult deserves a response. Sometimes the strongest response is silence. A wise person knows that speaking less often means saying more. People listen carefully when your words carry weight. That weight comes from thoughtfulness. That weight comes from wisdom. That weight comes from restraint. Let us also talk about courage. Because importance requires courage. Not the courage to fight others. The courage to face yourself. The courage to admit mistakes. The courage to start again after failure. The courage to stand alone when necessary. A young woman dreamed of starting her own business. But fear held her back. She worried about failure. She worried about criticism. She worried about what people would think. For years she stayed stuck. Finally she decided to act despite her fear. The business was not perfect. She made mistakes. She faced challenges. But she grew stronger. Years later she realized something important. The biggest obstacle was never failure. The biggest obstacle was fear. Most people never discover their potential because fear stops them before they begin. Do not wait for fear to disappear. Move forward despite it. That is courage. And courage earns respect. Another quality that makes people important is kindness. Some people mistake kindness for weakness. They are wrong. Real kindness requires strength. It is easy to be kind when life is going well. It is harder when you are stressed. It is harder when people disappoint you. It is harder when nobody appreciates your efforts. Yet truly important people choose kindness anyway. Not because others deserve it. Because kindness reflects who they are. A simple smile. A sincere compliment. A helping hand. A moment of patience. These small actions often have a bigger impact than we realize. You never know what battle someone is fighting. Your kindness may become the reason they keep going. One of the greatest mistakes people make is chasing success while neglecting character. Success without character is fragile. Character without success can still inspire generations. Think about the people remembered throughout history. Many are remembered not for wealth. Not for fame. Not for power. They are remembered because of who they were. Character creates a legacy. Money can disappear. Fame can fade. Positions can change. Character remains. So every day ask yourself, who am I becoming? That question matters more than any title. The truth is that becoming important is not about standing above others. It is about lifting yourself to a higher standard. It is about becoming someone people can trust. Someone people can respect. Someone people can depend on. Someone who leaves every place better than they found it. The world already has enough people seeking attention. What it needs are people seeking excellence. People seeking wisdom. People seeking growth. People seeking truth. Become one of those people. Focus on your discipline. Focus on your character. Focus on your purpose. Focus on your contribution. And something amazing will happen. You will stop chasing importance. Importance will begin to follow you. People will respect you not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. They will trust you not because you asked them to, but because your actions proved worthy of trust. They will value your presence because your character creates value wherever you go. Remember this. You do not become important overnight. It happens one decision at a time. One disciplined action at a time. One honest choice at a time. One courageous step at a time. Every day is an opportunity to build the person you want to become. Every day is an opportunity to strengthen your character. Every day is an opportunity to grow. And growth is the path to true importance. As you leave this video, carry this message with you. Stop trying to impress people. Start improving yourself. Stop chasing attention. Start creating value. Stop comparing yourself to others. Start becoming the best version of yourself. Because true importance is not something you receive. It is something you become. Before you go, there is one final lesson that many people discover too late. The people who become truly important are not obsessed with being remembered. They are obsessed with living well. Think about that for a moment. Many people dream about leaving a legacy. They want their name to last forever. They want recognition. They want people to talk about them long after they are gone. But the irony is that the people who leave the greatest legacy rarely spend their lives thinking about legacy. They spend their lives serving a purpose. A teacher changes hundreds of lives without becoming famous. A parent sacrifices for their children without expecting applause. A friend stands beside someone during difficult times without asking for recognition. These people may never appear in history books. Yet their impact is enormous. Importance is not measured by how many people know your name. It is measured by how many lives are better because you existed. There was once a gardener who worked in a public park. Every morning before sunrise, he arrived early. He planted flowers. He trimmed bushes. He cleaned paths. Most visitors never knew his name. They simply enjoyed the beauty around them. Years passed. One day the gardener retired. A new worker took over. Within months people began noticing the difference. The park no longer looked the same. The flowers were neglected. The paths were untidy. Only then did people realize how much value the gardener had brought. The lesson is powerful. Your value is often noticed most when it is absent. Do not underestimate the importance of your daily actions. The small things matter. The effort you put into your work matters. The way you treat people matters. The promises you keep matter. The habits you build matter. Little actions repeated over time create extraordinary results. Another truth about becoming important is learning how to handle criticism. No matter what you do, someone will criticize you. If you are ambitious, people will say you are trying too hard. If you stay quiet, people will say you lack confidence. If you succeed, some people will envy you. If you fail, some people will judge you. You cannot escape criticism. But you can choose your response. The Stoics taught that criticism is like the wind. You cannot stop it from blowing. But you can decide whether it pushes you off course. When someone criticizes you, ask yourself a simple question. Is there truth in what they are saying? If there is, learn from it. If there is not, let it go. Do not waste your energy fighting every opinion. Your energy is precious. Use it to build your future instead. One of the strongest signs of maturity is the ability to remain focused on your mission while others are distracted by noise. Remember this. Not everyone who disagrees with you is your enemy. Not everyone who praises you is your friend. Judge people by their character. Judge yourself by your actions. There is another habit that separates ordinary people from extraordinary people. They take responsibility. When things go wrong, most people look for someone to blame. They blame circumstances. They blame bad luck. They blame other people. They blame the economy. They blame their past. But important people ask a different question. What can I do now? That question changes everything. Because responsibility creates power. The moment you accept responsibility for your life, you stop waiting for rescue. You stop expecting others to solve your problems. You begin creating solutions. Imagine two people facing the same challenge. One spends hours complaining. The other spends hours improving. A year later their lives will look very different. Complaints change nothing. Responsibility changes everything. Your future belongs to the person willing to take ownership of it. Another lesson worth remembering is patience. We live in a world that wants everything immediately. People want success overnight. They want results without effort. They want rewards without sacrifice. But life does not work that way. The strongest trees take years to grow. The greatest skills take years to master. The deepest wisdom takes years to develop. Patience is not weakness. Patience is strength under control. A farmer plants seeds and waits. He waters them. He protects them. He trusts the process. He does not dig them up every day to check their progress. Growth takes time. Your personal growth works the same way. Some days you will feel like nothing is happening. Keep going. Some days your efforts will seem invisible. Keep going. Some days you will want to quit. Keep going. The results are often closer than they appear. Many people fail because they stop too soon. Success often belongs to those who simply refuse to quit. Now let's talk about something that truly elevates a person. Gratitude. The ungrateful person is always poor, no matter how much they possess. The grateful person is always rich, even with little. Think about how many blessings you overlook every day. The ability to walk. The ability to learn. The ability to improve. The people who care about you. The opportunities in front of you. When you focus only on what you lack, life feels empty. When you appreciate what you have, life feels abundant. Gratitude does not mean settling for less. It means appreciating the present while working toward a better future. That balance creates peace. And peace is one of the greatest forms of wealth. Another mark of an important person is consistency. Anyone can be motivated for a day. Anyone can be inspired for a week. But can you stay committed for years? Can you keep showing up when nobody notices? Can you keep working when nobody applauds? Can you stay disciplined when progress is slow? Consistency is what separates dreams from reality. A drop of water seems weak. But over time, consistent drops can carve through stone. Your daily habits work the same way. Small efforts repeated consistently become powerful. Never underestimate what you can achieve by staying consistent. The person you become in 5 years depends largely on what you do every day. Choose wisely. Choose habits that strengthen you. Choose habits that move you forward. Choose habits that align with your purpose. As your journey continues, you will notice something remarkable. The more you focus on growth, the less you worry about proving yourself. You stop chasing validation. You stop seeking approval. You stop comparing yourself to everyone around you. Instead, you become focused on your mission. And there is freedom in that. A freedom that cannot be bought. A freedom that cannot be given. A freedom that comes from knowing who you are. The world may not always recognize your efforts immediately. Keep going. People may not always understand your journey. Keep going. Results may take longer than expected. Keep going. Every meaningful achievement requires persistence. Every worthwhile goal requires sacrifice. Every strong character requires testing. The challenges you face today are preparing you for the opportunities of tomorrow. Trust the process. Trust your growth. Trust the lessons you are learning along the way. And most importantly, trust yourself. Because deep down, you are capable of far more than you realize. You have strength that has not yet been tested. Wisdom that has not yet been discovered. Potential that has not yet been unlocked. Do not spend your life doubting what is possible. Spend your life discovering it. One day you will look back and realize that the moments you thought were holding you back were actually making you stronger. The failures taught you resilience. The struggles taught you patience. The disappointments taught you wisdom. The obstacles taught you determination. Nothing was wasted. Every challenge became part of your growth. And that growth transformed you into someone stronger, wiser, and more valuable than before. So stand tall. Walk with confidence. Speak with purpose. Act with integrity. Live with discipline. Treat people with respect. Continue learning. Continue growing. Continue becoming. Because true importance is not found in fame. It is not found in attention. It is not found in applause. It is found in character. It is found in service. It is found in courage. It is found in the quiet determination to become the best version of yourself every single day. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. Your story may inspire someone else who is on the same journey. And if you want more powerful Stoic lessons, life-changing wisdom, and practical strategies for building mental strength and self-discipline, subscribe to Stoic Awakening and become part of this growing community. Share this video with a friend, a family member, or anyone who needs encouragement today. Remember, you do not need the world's attention to be important. You only need the courage to become a person of value. And that journey begins today. Have you ever reached the end of a day and wondered where all your time went? One more day gone. One more sunrise spent. One more opportunity that will never return. The Stoics believe that life is not lost all at once. It is lost little by little, day by day, through neglect, distraction, and delay. But the good news is this: you do not need to transform your entire life overnight. You only need to improve a few important things every single day. Small improvements may look insignificant today, but after weeks, months, and years, they create a completely different person. Today, we will explore 5 things you must improve every day according to Stoic wisdom. These simple principles can help you become calmer, stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment telling us which of these 5 areas you need to improve the most, and share this video with someone who wants to become their best self. Now, let's begin. The first thing you must improve every day is your mind. Everything starts in the mind. Your success begins there. Your failures begin there. Your peace begins there. Your suffering begins there. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that our life becomes what our thoughts make it. Think about that for a moment. If your thoughts are filled with fear, your life feels fearful. If your thoughts are filled with anger, your life feels hostile. If your thoughts are filled with gratitude, your life feels abundant. The quality of your mind determines the quality of your life. Imagine a young man named Daniel. Every morning, he woke up complaining. The traffic was bad. The weather was bad. His job was bad. His opportunities were bad. He believed the world was against him. One day, an older mentor asked him a simple question. If everything around you is the problem, why do some people succeed in the same circumstances? Daniel could not answer. That question changed his life. He began spending just 10 minutes every morning reading books, reflecting, and improving his thinking. Nothing changed immediately. His job was still the same. His income was still the same. His city was still the same. But his mind was different. And because his mind changed, his actions changed. Eventually, his life changed too. The lesson is simple. Guard your mind every day. Feed it knowledge. Protect it from negativity. Challenge destructive thoughts. Replace excuses with responsibility. The stronger your mind becomes, the stronger your life becomes. The second thing you must improve every day is your discipline. Most people wait until they feel motivated. Stoics do not. They act whether motivation is present or not. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. Discipline is waking up when you promised yourself you would. Discipline is exercising when you do not feel like it. Discipline is doing the work even when nobody is watching. Imagine a farmer. Every day he plants seeds. Some days it rains. Some days it is hot. Some days he feels tired. But he still plants. Why? Because he understands something important. The harvest does not care about his feelings. The harvest only responds to his actions. Many people want results. Few people want discipline. They want success without consistency. They want strength without effort. They want growth without discomfort. Life does not work that way. A young woman once dreamed of becoming a successful entrepreneur. She had talent. She had ideas. She had ambition. But every time things became difficult, she stopped. Months turned into years. Nothing happened. Eventually she made one decision. She would work on her goal for 1 hour every single day no matter what. 1 hour. Not 10 hours. Not all night. Just one consistent hour. That simple habit transformed her future. Years later, her business became successful. People called her lucky. They never saw the countless days she chose discipline over excuses. The Stoics understood that excellence is not an event. It is a habit. Improve your discipline every day. Keep promises to yourself. Do what must be done. Even when nobody notices. Especially when nobody notices. The third thing you must improve every day is your character. In today's world, people often focus on appearance. They focus on status. They focus on money. But Stoics focused on character. Character is who you are when nobody is watching. Character is how you treat people who cannot help you. Character is what you do when you have the opportunity to do wrong without being caught. Imagine two men. Both are successful. Both are wealthy. Both are respected. But one is honest, humble, and kind. The other is arrogant, dishonest, and selfish. Which one is truly successful? The Stoics would choose the first man every time. Because character matters more than reputation. Reputation is what people think about you. Character is who you really are. There was once a shop owner who found a wallet full of money. Nobody saw him find it. Nobody knew it belonged to someone else. He could have kept it. Instead, he spent hours searching for the owner. Eventually, he returned every cent. When someone asked why he did it, he smiled and said, "Because I have to live with myself every day." That is character. Every day, ask yourself. Did I tell the truth? Did I act with integrity? Did I treat others with respect? Did I remain humble? Did I do what was right? The answers to those questions shape your future more than money ever will. Improve your character daily. Because at the end of life, your character is your true legacy. The fourth thing you must improve every day is your emotional control. Life will test you. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Unexpected problems will appear. The question is not whether challenges will come. The question is how you will respond when they do. The Stoics taught that we cannot control everything that happens. But we can control our response. Imagine a captain sailing through the ocean. He cannot control the wind. He cannot control the waves. He cannot control the storm. But he can control the sail. He can control the direction. He can control his actions. That is emotional control. A man once received a harsh insult from a stranger. His friends expected him to become angry. Instead, he smiled and walked away. Later they asked why. He replied, "If someone offers me a gift and I refuse to accept it, who keeps the gift? The person who offered it." The same is true of insults. That response reflects true strength. Many people think emotional control means suppressing emotions. It does not. It means mastering them. Feel anger without becoming controlled by anger. Feel fear without becoming controlled by fear. Feel disappointment without surrendering to despair. The strongest person in the room is often the calmest. Each day, practice pausing before reacting. Practice listening before speaking. Practice understanding before judging. Over time, you will develop a level of inner peace that most people never experience. The fifth thing you must improve every day is your purpose. Many people wake up without direction. They move through life reacting to circumstances. They drift wherever the current takes them. The Stoics believed life should be guided by purpose. Purpose gives meaning to effort. Purpose gives strength during hardship. Purpose keeps you moving when motivation disappears. Imagine an archer aiming at a target. Without a target, every arrow misses. Life works the same way. Without purpose, effort becomes scattered. Energy becomes wasted. Potential remains unrealized. There was once a young man who spent years chasing entertainment. Every day looked the same. Sleep. Eat. Watch videos. Waste time. Repeat. One evening he asked himself a difficult question. What am I building? He realized he had no answer. That moment became a turning point. He began setting goals. He started learning new skills. He started helping others. He started living intentionally. His circumstances did not improve overnight. But his direction changed immediately. And direction is often more important than speed. You do not need to have every detail figured out. You do not need a perfect plan. You simply need a reason to move forward. Ask yourself every day. What kind of person am I becoming? What am I working toward? What impact do I want to leave behind? Purpose turns ordinary days into meaningful days. Purpose transforms existence into living. Now think about these 5 areas together. Your mind. Your discipline. Your character. Your emotional control. Your purpose. Imagine improving each one by just 1% every day. Not perfection. Not dramatic transformation. Just steady progress. 1% better thinking. 1% more discipline. 1% stronger character. 1% greater emotional control. 1% clearer purpose. Those small improvements compound over time. A year from now, you could be a completely different person. The Stoics understood something that modern society often forgets. Greatness is built quietly. It is built in ordinary moments. It is built in daily choices. It is built when nobody is watching. Every morning gives you a fresh opportunity. A fresh opportunity to think better. To act better. To grow stronger. To become wiser. To become the person you were capable of becoming all along. Remember, the goal is not to be better than someone else. The goal is to be better than the person you were yesterday. That is the Stoic path. That is the path of continuous improvement. And that is the path to a meaningful life. If you found value in this message, share your thoughts in the comments below. Which of these 5 areas are you going to focus on improving today? The truth is that most people underestimate what a single day can do. They think one workout does not matter. One book chapter does not matter. One act of kindness does not matter. One difficult conversation does not matter. One disciplined decision does not matter. But life is nothing more than a collection of days. And days are nothing more than a collection of choices. The person you become tomorrow is being created by the choices you make today. That is why the Stoics treated each day like a complete life. When they woke up, they prepared themselves mentally. When they worked with purpose. When they faced difficulties, they practiced courage. When they made mistakes, they learned from them. When they went to sleep, they reflected on how they had lived. Every day was an opportunity to improve. Imagine a sculptor standing before a giant block of stone. The sculpture is hidden inside. But it does not appear instantly. The sculptor removes one small piece at a time. Day after day. Week after week. Month after month. Eventually, a masterpiece emerges. Your life is no different. Every disciplined action removes a piece of weakness. Every wise decision removes a piece of confusion. Every act of courage removes a piece of fear. Every moment of patience removes a piece of anger. You are shaping yourself whether you realize it or not. The question is, what are you becoming? Many people spend years waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect opportunity. The perfect motivation. The perfect circumstances. But perfection never arrives. A Stoic understands that progress begins now. Right where you are. With what you have. One small action today is worth more than 1,000 perfect plans that never leave your imagination. There is a story about a man who wanted to climb a mountain. From the bottom, the peak seemed impossible to reach. The distance overwhelmed him. The height intimidated him. He almost gave up before he started. Then an experienced climber gave him simple advice. Do not focus on the entire mountain. Focus on the next step. So he did. One step became another. Another became 100. 100 became 1,000. And eventually, he reached the summit. Life often works the same way. When you focus on everything you need to accomplish, you become overwhelmed. When you focus on the next right action, you move forward. The Stoics taught that the present moment is all we truly possess. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. But today is in your hands. Today you can strengthen your mind. Today you can choose discipline. Today you can build character. Today you can master your emotions. Today you can move closer to your purpose. And if you repeat that process every day, your future will take care of itself. Think about the people you admire most. People with wisdom. People with strength. People with confidence. People with integrity. Do you think they became that way overnight? Of course not. They became who they are through thousands of small decisions. Thousands of moments when they chose growth instead of comfort. Thousands of moments when they chose courage instead of fear. Thousands of moments when they chose action instead of excuses. You can do the same. The journey is available to anyone willing to commit to it. Not because it is easy, but because it is possible. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once taught that no great thing is created suddenly. That wisdom remains true today. A strong body is built gradually. A strong mind is built gradually. A strong character is built gradually. A strong life is built gradually. The process may be slow. But slow progress is still progress. Never underestimate consistency. A river can cut through solid rock not because it is powerful all at once, but because it never stops flowing. Be like that river. Keep moving. Keep improving. Keep learning. Keep growing. Some days will be difficult. Some days you will feel tired. Some days you will doubt yourself. Some days you will fail. That is normal. Even the greatest Stoics struggled. Even the strongest people experience setbacks. The difference is that they do not stay down. They get back up. Again and again. When you fail, learn. When you fall, rise. When you struggle, continue. Persistence is one of the highest forms of strength. There may be someone watching this right now who feels stuck. Maybe your goals seem far away. Maybe life has disappointed you. Maybe you have tried before and failed. If that is you, remember this. Your past does not decide your future. Your previous mistakes do not define your potential. Every sunrise gives you another chance. Another opportunity to begin again. Another opportunity to improve. Another opportunity to become stronger. Do not waste that opportunity. Use it. Embrace it. Honor it. Because one day, all of us will reach the end of our journey. And when that day comes, the question will not be how much money we made. It will not be how many followers we gained. It will not be how many possessions we accumulated. The deeper question will be, did we become the best version of ourselves? Did we live with courage? Did we live with wisdom? Did we live with integrity? Did we live with purpose? Those are the questions that matter. Those are the questions worth answering. And the answers are being written right now through the choices you make every day. So as you leave this video, remember the 5 things you must improve every day. Improve your mind. Improve your discipline. Improve your character. Improve your emotional control. Improve your purpose. Master these 5 areas, and you will master your life. Not instantly. Not effortlessly. But steadily. And steadily is enough. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment below and tell us which of these 5 areas you are committed to improving starting today. Share this video with someone who needs a little motivation and direction in their life. And subscribe to the channel for more powerful Stoic teachings that will help you develop discipline, resilience, wisdom, confidence, and inner peace. Thank you for watching. Keep growing. Keep learning. Keep moving forward. And remember, a better life is not built in a single day. It is built every day. Mind drifts. You check your phone. You open another app. Suddenly 1 hour is gone, and you feel angry at yourself. But what if I told you that in the next 35 minutes, you could completely reset your focus, and train your brain to lock in like never before? Because focus is not talent. It is not luck. It is training. And today, you are about to train your mind like a Stoic warrior. Before we begin, comment below with one word, focused. And subscribe to Stoic Awakening for more powerful videos that rebuild your mind, discipline, and inner strength. Now listen carefully. The first thing you must understand is this. Your mind has been stolen. Every notification, every short video, every endless scroll is fighting for your attention. And attention is your life force. Whatever controls your attention controls your future. A young man once complained to an old monk. He said, "Master, I cannot focus. My mind jumps everywhere." The monk handed him a cup filled to the top with water and said, "Walk through the village without spilling a drop." The young man walked carefully, fully concentrated. When he returned, the monk asked, "Did you notice the people laughing? The music? The noise?" The young man replied, "No. I only focused on the water." The monk smiled. Where attention goes, life follows. Most people fail not because they are weak, but because their attention is scattered. And today, you will take your attention back. The first step to improving your focus is eliminating mental noise. Your brain cannot perform at its highest level while drowning in distraction. Imagine trying to light a fire in the middle of a storm. That is what most people are doing every day. They try to work while their phone vibrates every minute. They try to think while consuming endless information. They try to grow while constantly distracted. A Stoic understands that peace is power. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your mind constantly absorbs chaos, your life becomes chaos. So before you begin any important task, create silence. Put your phone away. Close unnecessary tabs. Turn off notifications. Sit alone with your thoughts. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Because modern people are addicted to stimulation. But that discomfort is the doorway to deep focus. A writer once rented a tiny cabin in the woods to finish his book. No internet. No television. No distractions. For the first 2 days, he felt restless. He kept reaching for his phone even when it wasn't there. But on the third day, something changed. His mind became clear. His thoughts became deeper. And in 1 week, he finished more work than he had done in 6 months. Why? Because focus grows in silence. The next step is controlling your energy. Most people think focus is only mental. It is not. Your body controls your mind more than you realize. If you sleep badly, eat badly, and sit around all day, your focus will collapse. Your brain is an instrument. And a damaged instrument cannot produce beautiful music. A tired mind cannot concentrate deeply. The Stoics respected the body because they understood this connection. A soldier cannot fight if he is weak. A thinker cannot focus if he is exhausted. There was a businessman who constantly complained about brain fog. He drank too much coffee, slept 4 hours a night, and spent all day stressed. One day, his mentor told him something simple. You do not need more motivation. You need recovery. So he changed his habits. He slept earlier. He exercised every morning. He drank more water. He reduced junk food. And within weeks, his concentration transformed. Sometimes the solution is not complicated. Sometimes your brain is simply begging for rest. If you want laser focus in 35 minutes, prepare your body first. Sit upright. Take deep breaths. Drink water. Stretch your muscles. Tell your body it is time to perform. Now let's talk about the greatest enemy of focus. Dopamine addiction. Modern life has trained people to crave constant rewards. Quick entertainment. Quick pleasure. Quick excitement. But deep focus requires the opposite. It requires patience. Think about this. Why do people struggle to read 1 page of a book, but can scroll social media for 2 hours? Because their brain has been conditioned to expect instant stimulation every few seconds. A Stoic trains himself to resist these impulses. Epictetus said that no man is free if he is not master of himself. If every urge controls you, you are not free. One student wanted to become a doctor. But every time he tried to study, he became distracted. Videos. Messages. Games. He kept saying, I just can't focus. But the truth was deeper. His brain had become addicted to easy pleasure. So he made one difficult decision. For 30 days, he removed all unnecessary distractions. No endless scrolling. No mindless entertainment. At first, his mind rebelled. He felt bored. Restless. Uncomfortable. But slowly, his concentration returned. Books became easier to read. Studying became deeper. His thoughts became calmer. And eventually, he graduated at the top of his class. Focus is like a muscle. If you train distraction every day, distraction becomes stronger. If you train concentration every day, concentration becomes stronger. Now here is a powerful method you can use immediately. The 35-minute focus ritual. This is simple, but life-changing. Choose one task. Only one. Not 5 things. Not multitasking. One mission. Set a timer for 35 minutes. During those 35 minutes, you are unavailable to the world. No phone. No messages. No switching tasks. Only total concentration. Most people underestimate what they can achieve in focus time. One focused hour is more powerful than 10 distracted hours. A young artist struggled for years to improve his craft. He practiced randomly and rarely finished anything. Then his teacher gave him a challenge. Every day, focus deeply for just 35 minutes. The artist laughed. Only 35 minutes. But he followed the advice. Every day, he painted with full concentration. No distractions. No interruptions. Months later, his skill exploded. Not because of talent. Because of consistency. Intensity beats duration. And deep focus changes the brain itself. Scientists call this neuroplasticity. The brain rewires based on repeated behavior. Every time you resist distraction, your focus becomes stronger. Every time you stay disciplined, your mind becomes sharper. You are literally rebuilding your brain. Now let's talk about another hidden killer of focus. Overthinking. Many people cannot focus because their mind is filled with fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of not being good enough. The Stoics believe that suffering often comes more from imagination than reality. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. One woman dreamed of starting a business. But every time she sat down to work, anxiety overwhelmed her. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I'm not ready? Her mentor finally told her. You are not distracted by the work. You are distracted by fear. That sentence changed her life. She stopped waiting to feel confident. She simply began. And with action, her fear slowly disappeared. Sometimes focus is not destroyed by laziness. Sometimes it is destroyed by emotional chaos. Clear your mind. Stop fighting imaginary battles. Be present with the task in front of you. Nothing else matters in that moment. Now here is something powerful. Your environment shapes your concentration. Look around your room. Is it peaceful or chaotic? A messy environment creates mental clutter. The Stoics valued simplicity because simplicity creates clarity. A musician once noticed something strange. Whenever his room was messy, he could not compose music properly. But when he cleaned his space, his creativity returned. Your surroundings influence your mind more than you think. Create a focus environment. A clean desk. Good lighting. Fresh air. Silence. Train your brain to associate that space with concentration. Eventually, simply sitting there will trigger focus automatically. Now let's go deeper. Most people wait to feel motivated before focusing. That is a mistake. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is reliable. A Stoic does not depend on emotion. He acts because it is necessary. There was an athlete who woke up every morning at 4 a.m. to train. People asked him, "How are you always motivated?" He answered, "I'm not." That shocked them. But then he explained. If I only trained when I felt motivated, I would already be defeated. This is the secret. Focus is not magic. It is a decision. You sit down. You begin. You continue even when it feels difficult. And eventually, momentum appears. The hardest part is always the beginning. Once the mind locks in, focus becomes easier. But you must survive the resistance at the start. The next lesson is extremely important. Stop consuming more than you create. Most people spend all day absorbing content, but never building anything. Watching. Scrolling. Listening. But never creating. Your mind becomes weak when it constantly consumes without producing. A Stoic trains his mind through action. One young man spent years watching motivational videos. But his life never changed. One day, he realized something painful. He was addicted to inspiration, but afraid of execution. So he made a new rule. For every hour of consumption, he would spend 2 hours creating. Writing. Building. Learning. Practicing. Within 1 year, his entire life transformed. Knowledge without action is useless. Focus grows through doing. Now let's discuss mental endurance. At first, deep focus feels exhausting. That is normal. Because your brain has been trained for distraction. Imagine someone who never exercises suddenly trying to run 5 miles. It will hurt. But with repetition, endurance grows. The same is true for concentration. Do not quit just because your mind wanders. Bring it back. Again and again. That is the training. A monk once told his student. Your mind is like a wild horse. Patience tames it. Every time you return your attention to the task, you become mentally stronger. Not perfect. Stronger. And strength compounds over time. Now listen carefully to this next lesson because it can change your life. Protect your mornings. The first hour after waking shapes your mental state. If the first thing you do every morning is check your phone, your brain immediately enters reactive mode. You become controlled by external noise. But a Stoic begins the day intentionally. Quiet reflection. Exercise. Reading. Planning. A successful entrepreneur once stopped using his phone for the first hour of the day. At first, it felt strange. But soon he noticed something incredible. His thoughts became clearer. His stress decreased. And his productivity doubled. The morning is sacred. Guard it carefully. Your focus throughout the day depends on how you begin. Now let's talk about emotional discipline. Many people lose focus because they are emotionally unstable. One negative comment ruins their mood. One bad moment destroys their concentration. Stoicism teaches emotional control. Not emotional suppression. Control. A warrior remains calm in battle because panic destroys performance. A focused mind requires emotional steadiness. There was a chess player known for extraordinary concentration. During tournaments, opponents tried to distract him. Noise. Pressure. Mind games. But he stayed calm. After one match, someone asked how he remained so focused. He replied, "I only think about the next move." That is wisdom. Do not carry yesterday's pain into today's work. Do not carry tomorrow's fear into this moment. Focus on the next step. Only the next step. Now here is a truth many people avoid. You become what you repeatedly do. If you constantly give in to distraction, you train weakness. If you repeatedly choose focus, you train power. Every action becomes part of your identity. A man trying to quit procrastination placed a note above his desk. It said, "Become the person you admire." Every time he wanted to waste time, he looked at that sentence. And slowly, his habits changed. Because identity shapes behavior. Tell yourself, "I am someone who finishes what I start. I am someone who controls my attention. I am someone who can focus deeply." Your mind listens to the story you repeat. Now let's discuss solitude. The modern world fears being alone. But solitude is where clarity is born. The Stoics often spent time in reflection because silence reveals truth. A young woman constantly felt mentally overwhelmed. Music playing. Messages arriving. People talking. Her mind never rested. One weekend, she went alone to a quiet place near the ocean. No distractions. For the first time in years, she could hear her own thoughts clearly. And she realized something important. Most of her stress came from constant noise. Silence heals the mind. Spend time alone with your thoughts. That is where deep focus begins. Now here is another powerful principle. Single tasking. Modern people praise multitasking. But multitasking destroys concentration. When you constantly switch tasks, your brain loses energy. A carpenter once taught his apprentice something unforgettable. He said, "If you chase 2 rabbits, you catch none." Simple. But true. Do one thing fully. One conversation. One task. One goal. Presence creates power. And power creates results. Now imagine this. What would happen if you focused deeply every day for 1 year? Your skills would improve dramatically. Your confidence would grow. Your mind would become sharper than ever before. Most people never experience their true potential because they never master attention. But you can. Starting today. Starting now. The next step is embracing boredom. Yes, boredom. Because boredom is where focus is reborn. People today cannot tolerate stillness. The moment silence appears, they reach for stimulation. But creativity and concentration often emerge after boredom. A scientist once described his greatest breakthroughs happening during quiet walks without distraction. No phone. No music. Just thinking. Your mind needs space to breathe. Do not run from silence. Use it. Now here is a challenge for you. For the next 7 days, practice one daily 35-minute focus session. One task. Before you leave this video, understand one thing clearly. Your ability to focus is your greatest weapon in a distracted world. Right now, millions of people are wasting their lives without realizing it. Hours disappear every single day. Scrolling. Complaining. Escaping reality. And slowly, their dreams die in silence. Not because they lacked intelligence. Not because they lacked potential. But because they never learned to direct their attention. The Stoics believed that a disciplined mind could survive any hardship. And in today's world, focus is modern discipline. A blacksmith once trained his son to forge swords. The boy was impatient. Every time he worked, he became distracted and careless. One day, the father handed him a glowing piece of metal and said, "If your attention leaves this moment, the blade will break." The boy suddenly became fully alert. Hours passed like minutes. Afterward, the father smiled and said, "Now you understand. Attention gives strength to your hands." That lesson applies to life itself. Whatever you give complete attention to becomes stronger. Your craft. Your body. Your future. But also your fears. Your distractions. Your weaknesses. So choose carefully what deserves your focus. Now let's talk about something most people ignore. Mental recovery. Even warriors rest their swords. You cannot force deep concentration endlessly without recovery. Burnout destroys focus. Many people think success means constantly working without pause. But a tired mind becomes slow and unfocused. A Stoic understands balance. There was a programmer who worked nearly 16 hours every day. At first, he felt productive. But after months, his mind became exhausted. Simple tasks felt difficult. His creativity disappeared. His focus collapsed. One evening, his grandfather told him, "A bow kept permanently tight will eventually snap." That sentence changed everything. The programmer began taking intentional breaks. Walking outside. Sleeping properly. Breathing deeply. Allowing his mind to recover. And strangely, he achieved more in fewer hours. Rest is not laziness. Rest is preparation. Even nature follows cycles. Day and night. Winter and summer. Action and recovery. Your mind needs both. Now here is another powerful truth. Your focus improves when your purpose becomes clear. People often struggle to concentrate because they lack direction. A person without purpose becomes easily distracted. Why? Because distractions become more attractive when your goals are weak. A sailor without a destination drifts wherever the waves push him. But a sailor with a destination ignores distractions because he knows where he is going. One teenager spent years wasting time online. Games. Videos. Entertainment. But everything changed when his mother became sick. He suddenly found purpose. He studied harder. Worked harder. Focused harder. Not because focus magically appeared, but because purpose awakened discipline. When your why becomes strong enough, your mind becomes sharper. Ask yourself, what kind of life are you building? Who are you becoming? What future are your daily habits creating? Because every distracted day shapes your destiny. Now listen closely to this next lesson. You do not need perfect conditions to focus. Many people say, "I'll start tomorrow. I need more motivation. I need the perfect setup." But perfection is another form of procrastination. A Stoic acts with what he has. There was a writer who dreamed of publishing a book. But he constantly waited for inspiration. Years passed. Nothing happened. One day, he saw an old woman writing in a noisy train station. People shouting. Children crying. Chaos everywhere. Yet she remained deeply focused. Curious, he asked her, "How can you concentrate in all this noise?" She smiled and answered, "When your mission matters enough, excuses disappear." That sentence hit him hard. From that day forward, he stopped waiting for perfect conditions. And finally, he finished his book. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Begin where you are. Now let's speak about self-respect. Every time you break a promise to yourself, your confidence weakens. You say you will focus for 35 minutes, then quit after 5. You say you will avoid distractions, then instantly give in. And slowly, your mind stops trusting you. But every time you keep your word to yourself, your inner strength grows. A man trying to rebuild his discipline made a simple promise. Every day, I will complete one focused session no matter what. Some days he felt tired. Some days he felt unmotivated. But he still showed up. And after months of consistency, he noticed something powerful. He respected himself again. Discipline creates self-trust. And self-trust creates confidence. Now imagine living with a mind that obeys you instead of controlling you. Imagine sitting down to work and instantly locking in. Imagine finishing tasks without constant distraction. Imagine the peace that comes from mental clarity. That is possible. But only if you train consistently. Now here is something important many people never realize. Your thoughts shape your focus. If your mind constantly repeats negative beliefs, concentration becomes harder. Thoughts like, "I'm lazy. I can't focus. I always fail." These thoughts weaken your identity. The Stoics practiced observing their thoughts carefully. Because the mind believes what it hears repeatedly. A teacher once handed 2 seeds to his student. He said, "One seed represents doubt. The other represents confidence. Which one grows? The student answered. The one I water. Exactly. Your mind grows where your attention flows. Feed discipline. Feed clarity. Feed strength. Starve distraction. Now let's talk about momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. Once you begin focusing consistently, it becomes easier to continue. But the opposite is also true. One lazy day becomes 2. Then 3. Then a habit. A runner once explained that the hardest part of running was putting on his shoes. Not the miles. Not the exhaustion. Just starting. Focus works the same way. The beginning feels difficult. But once momentum builds, your mind enters flow. And flow is where extraordinary work happens. Athletes experience it. Artists experience it. Writers experience it. Complete absorption. Time disappears. Distractions fade. Performance increases. But flow only appears after commitment. You cannot wait for flow. You must earn it through action. Now here is a lesson the Stoics understood deeply. Your external world reflects your internal discipline. If your room is chaotic, your mind often becomes chaotic. If your habits are weak, your results become weak. Everything is connected. A young soldier trained under a strict commander. Every morning, the commander inspected their beds carefully. One recruit complained. "Why does making the bed matter so much?" The commander replied. "Because discipline in small things creates discipline in great things. That is wisdom. Small habits shape identity. The way you wake up. The way you work. The way you respond to distractions. It all matters." Now let's discuss fear of missing out. Many people cannot focus because they constantly fear missing something online. Messages. Updates. Trends. But while they chase everything, they accomplish nothing. A Stoic understands that attention requires sacrifice. To focus on one thing means ignoring many others. A sculptor once spent months carving a masterpiece in complete isolation. Friends criticized him for disappearing. But years later, his work became legendary. Greatness often requires temporary isolation. You cannot master your craft while constantly seeking distraction. Protect your attention like treasure. Because it is. Now imagine 2 people. One spends years distracted. The other trains focus daily. At first, the difference between them seems small. But after 5 years, the gap becomes enormous. One becomes disciplined, skilled, and confident. The other remains trapped in distraction. Your habits are building your future right now. Whether you realize it or not. Now here is a practical technique you can use immediately. Before every focus session, ask yourself one question. What is the single most important thing I must finish right now? Not tomorrow. Not later. Right now. This question removes confusion. Clarity creates action. And action creates momentum. A businessman overwhelmed by endless tasks learned this technique from his mentor. Every morning, he chose one critical task before doing anything else. Within months, his productivity exploded. Not because he worked harder. Because he worked with clarity. Confused minds become distracted minds. Clear minds become focused minds. Now let's talk about patience. Deep focus is not built overnight. Do not expect instant transformation. A tree does not grow in one day. A sword is not forged in one strike. Strength requires repetition. One martial artist practiced the same basic movement for years. Visitors mocked him. Why repeat something so simple? But during competitions, his precision was unmatched. Mastery comes from repetition. The same applies to concentration. Practice daily. Even when it feels difficult. especially when it feels difficult. Now listen carefully. There will be days when you fail. Days when you become distracted. Days when your mind feels weak. That does not mean you are broken. It means you are human. A Stoic does not quit after failure. He resets and continues. A sailor cannot control the storm, but he can control the sail. You cannot control every emotion or distraction. But you can control your response. Return to the task. Again and again. That is discipline. Now imagine the version of yourself 1 year from today if you truly commit to mastering focus. You wake up with purpose. You complete what you start. You feel mentally strong. You waste less time. You create more. You think clearly. That version of you already exists inside you. But it requires training. And training requires sacrifice. You must sacrifice distraction for discipline. Comfort for growth. Temporary pleasure for long-term power. Now here is the final truth. Focus is not only about productivity. It is about life itself. Because where your attention goes, your life follows. If your attention constantly lives in negativity, your life becomes negative. If your attention constantly chases distraction, your future becomes weak. But if your attention is directed toward growth, discipline, purpose, and wisdom, your life transforms. So starting today, guard your mind. Protect your attention. Train your focus daily. Even 35 minutes of true concentration can begin changing your life. And remember this. A distracted person reacts to life. A focused person creates life. If you made it this far, comment below. My mind is my power. Share this video with someone who needs discipline and clarity in their life. And subscribe to Stoic Awakening for more powerful Stoic wisdom, mindset training, discipline, and life-changing motivation. Now turn off the noise. Lock in. And become unstoppable.